This is All My Words, Season 4, Episode 12. This is the Voice Project. This is a safe space where you are encouraged to speak your mind and share your work. What do you have in mind? And join us on our open mic. Let's talk about it. Here we have coming up RhyMinister. Let me start off with this friendly reminder. Let today be the start of something new. Do something today you always wanted to. Do it because you're doing it for you. So, as just my daily reminder that anything you do in your life, even if you are doing it to help someone, you're still doing it for yourself as well. And that's really important, that self-worth and self-growth is always a part of your day.
This is called Dichotomy.
Right.
I first wrote this in 2011. And it goes like this. How I loved and hated the things that we shared. Our little statement to yawn worlds. How our companionship had me sated. We related, created a picture worth painting. A poem worth writing. A strong bond that seemed worth fighting. For you set me alighted the stairway to heights in my mind. Your smile. Raspy voice excitedly rapping stories in flight. Your cheeks, how you peaked, your gait and marzipan tone, how our convos were a brick road that led me back, honed my expression and passion for words, as well as your beauty, which to you in many ways was yet to be known. Wish you sat on my throne were the crown of my majesty. We were an intricate lattice, a beautiful tapestry. You, the lioness, roared, and I, the lion, conquered terrain that you treasured with pleasure. I smiled at my pillow after each session of backwards and forth, slept on the wave of your awe, such delightful discourse. Dreamt of holding you close, filling your pulse with letters, wishing you as my miss. Is you feeling me? How the zeal in these words interlock like passionate kisses. Remission. The mission was hunting you as a deer in open field, hoping feelings will show you the true scope I feel. Because I've delved into reasonings and ramblings long, entertained using dark arts I considered as wrong. Wish to have you without a care in the world. You find yourself simple, I find you a most beautiful girl. You see yourself as a million pieces. I was ready to dive, taken in by all the creases that marked you with character and made you a depth. I was trapped at great length by your volume because you took all my breath. You amazed me, the steep and hopeless romantic. Your distance, it left me quite hopelessly frantic. I'm asking myself, how can I play with these words when surely their purpose is describing the journey to the center of view, stopping ever so often to take in your hues. You have your issues, in fact, all of us do. But I subscribe to your paper because your freshness is news. I don't understand much that is under the sun, but you move me, you mischievous, marvelous wand, with magic previously in these parts unbeknown, now taken back by enchantment, whilst collapsed to the core. I sit plotting a course, seeking the philosopher's stone. So that is that piece, Dichotomy.
When you start to come up to that last part, was just say, if you don't say philosopher's stone, you
You
mess up
serious?
that. Yeah, that
That's across the mind for true.
that
Oh,
was coming to
sick.
the mind, right?
Oh, sick. I
Because
wrote that as a piece I famously wrote while dropping to sleep, and I wrote it with my hand. Somehow not, it didn't fall on my hand, but that was one of my favorite pieces that I ever would have written. I think that was one of my favorite pieces up to when I wrote. I think it's Fall.
right.
We started writing the SCKRC. That was like the first SCKRCs when I first started writing stuff. And I didn't feel like writing poetry no more. After that, like that piece there, I
Mm.
didn't. I kind of lost that. I had actually started to get catch feelings for a woman who had a boyfriend, and I was trying real hard to not allow myself to get into that entanglement deeper than it would have been. So I distanced myself from the situation, but it wasn't easy because I'd feel inclined to go forward and I was going against how I'd feel. But it was the right thing to do for me and my sanity
Right.
because she I guess was looking to, you can say, straddle the fence, like where she was involved in me, and I wasn't trying to be in that. Big ups to Ramrock, big ups to Nathan. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we miss the people here, but y'all amazing. Thanks y'all for coming out. See Ginger Ninja.
Mm-hmm. Ginger
And then
Ninja.
hail to
One and only.
Bassa Bassa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are free to come on.
Yes. And do
Don't be
your
afraid.
work.
Come on up.
Let me see,
Even if
let me
you
see what Shem got. Let me see what Shem got here.
okay.
You're gonna start again to that 10-minute challenges. You see, I think it's Ram Rock that's got.
Yeah,
That's got
man.
training.
You gotta touch base on one of those.
Yeah, yeah. But I like anything, so I have had my
Okay, who
share
we
of.
got? So we have Mario the Entertainer.
Oh, Morio, yeah.
Morio.
Yeah.
Morio, not Mario. Morio. Okay. Let me see if this is the guy that.
Yep. He is the guy.
Let's see.
He's a singer.
Yep, this is him. You remember?
Match
You remember
right
telling you
beside
about him,
Saddam.
right?
Howdy.
Yeah, something about you.
Yeah, because I remember. I saw him on. I can't remember the guy's name, but he does his show on mornings, and I saw him. I was just like, nope, I gotta follow this guy's
The
thing.
man is we show more is he got lots, right? That's AJ word artist. That's what you mean?
Yes. And
Yeah.
then there's the other one that's wear the hat all the time. I can't remember his name right now. But
Yeah.
when I saw this guy here, I was just I heard this guy sing. And I was just like, how can this I think he said it was what? How old are you again?
I'm 19 now.
19. I was just like, how could this guy be 19 and have a voice so powerful? I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So as soon as I heard that voice, I added him and I messaged you and I was just like, dude, you need to go and see what this man
Yeah,
has.
you had told me and I went and I checked. You seemed to give me the time stamp when he was on and I went and checked and all of it.
So
So yeah.
I'm gonna do my. This time I have a mostly just piano piece for y'all.
yeah,
But
that's
we
fine.
both it, man. We both it.
something with my mind. Cause every time I get around this girl, there's a blinding in my eye. And I start to see a world that don't exist. Cause listen, in this world, me and this girl are perfect fitting. I know that love is blind and I can't see past the veil. But does anybody hear my plea? Does anybody hear my cry? Cause I'm so tired, yes I am, living in my distress. Cause I'm blinded by love. Hey, oh, oh, she once was a dear friend of mine and we got along very well. But I never really got the chance to tell her how I really felt. Then when darkness fell over the earth, it was due to circumstance that I never really got my chance. Now I'm sitting all alone with memory of her. Gotta try to get over this now and fly with the birds. Maybe then I'll be free once again. I won't be blinded by love ever again. But listen to me, I know that love is blind and I can't see past the veil. But does anybody hear my plea? Does anybody in my cry for help? Cause I'm so tired of living in my distress. Cause I'm blinded by love. Cause I'm blinded by love. Cause I'm blinded by love. Cause I'm blinded by love.
Excellent performance. Like you came, your hat, glasses, come set the mood one time and you delivered, man. Like I thought you were just gonna play the piano, but then I was so happy that you sang so people could hear what I heard that morning on that live. You have a phenomenal voice. And
Voice and
we
talent
got a few
is,
people in here we got one person in here, Ray Wright, said that he would pay to see a performance like that.
I would as well, for sure.
At 19.
Well,
You got
I will keep forgetting everything. That's true. I'll forget everything. I will forget everything.
Now, I do want to give me a second.
Sure.
Because I was just reminded y'all reminded me that hold on, let me just I gotta make some room for this. So neither of you knew me when I did this, at least I don't think so. But one day, it had to be sometime in September.
Right.
I wrote a hymn on accident. Well, yeah, that's the best way I could put it. I was writing a ballad around the time, and I didn't have any words to put to it. But I finally got some, right? And the words I got for it, I want to do real quick before I hop off, because I just think out of everything I've ever written, this is probably one of the most important.
All right, let's go.
Pretty blind blackbird, why don't you take flight, pretty blackbird? Why don't you soar through the night, pretty blackbird? You say they clip your wings, they cut out your voice, so for freedom you cannot sing. Yes, oh, pretty blackbird. That's why you don't understand. Listen here, I know you built this house, oh no, but this is not your land. Listen, oh, pretty blackbird, please take flight. Spread your mighty wings through the darkened sky. Oh, yes, oh, pretty blackbird. I don't care what they say. I know you'll be free. Be free one day. Got one last thing I want to say right now. Pretty blackbird, oh, I'd like to believe you're free. Listen, cause we crossed every river. Oh yes, we flew through every little, every single sea. Oh, pretty black, see, they still have your mind. Chained up child, oh, so you'll never really be free. Just say these last few words, you'll understand, pretty blackbird. I'm free.
Pretty Black Bird.
That was beyond words, B. Yeah,
I told
exceptional,
you.
exceptional.
I told you, man. I told you this
Yeah,
guy was
but
fast.
but I tell you, like this is like the fifth, sixth time we hear, when you had told me from before, you had checked him out, the same thing. So this is not my first rodeo. From the moment you tell me, so I think that same day I went check it, and it was like, then I added him. So Morio, thank you so much for sharing your gift with us. That was
Mm-hmm.
exceptional. I wish you. I think I had written a note saying, get you signed, or I hope you start your own label or something, like, but get you signed by some
Yeah, get
scrupulous
you on a label, man.
recording label. But it gotta be scrupulous though. We need people that can handle you
Yeah.
properly, like, but or start your own label or something. But your work is phenomenal, man. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much, man.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you very
We
much.
can,
You're always
we can see
welcome.
it, 'cause you had a lot of fun. We can see that.
Yeah. That young man, for anyone not coming into the room, seeing him, that young man is only 19 years old. Recently turned 19.
Morio, the entertainer, we'll have his handle in the description at the end of the show. So y'all can follow him if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, told you, man, for a young man, he got such a soulful voice. Like, I want to see where he can end up in a few years. I give him 2 years to be signed. Within 2 years, he can be signed comfortably. Because when he was on the live, he said that he actually sings in the church with his dad.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so I was
You
just
want to hear how he father sing, no, too, because they want to see how.
telling me,
I want to check the genes, your mom and your dad, and see what he played with, right?
something, those genes in there got to be phenomenal.
I'll see what it is. Definitely want to see what it is.
All right, so open mic, guys. Anyone interested in coming on? Just send a request and bring you on. Let's see. Let me see. That man needs to be a feature. Yep, he needs to be a feature. Most definitely. All right. I have a piece here. This piece is entitled "Yet Another Dirty Canvas." Here we go. I can tell you've been hurt before. The truth is, so have I. But holding on to what they've done to you is definitely not the best way to start whatever this is. Purge that hate and despise from your heart. Cleanse those thoughts and mistakes made. So you decided that leaving your canvas as it was the best way to paint this picture. That would mean that you're painting each person with the same unwashed brush. Your pictures will always have layers upon layers of unblendable colors, tarnished and unrepairable. See, your brush is still dirty from the last time you devoted your time and effort. Let it soak in some fresh water for a change. Let it stay there until it's clean. Taking time between your artwork is needed. Each person that comes into your life, they deserve a blank, clean surface with clean brushes and a clean palette. Let each brushstroke be a new one, not a cover-up. They deserve that much. At least give them that. You're not getting to know them. Why should they feel the wrath of past traumas, past hurt, past disappointments, and past pain? Would you like it if they did that to you? Someone that keeps comparing you to another, telling you about all the hurt that you would cause before even giving you a chance to prove yourself. Telling you seem to be playing games, saying you remind them of that other person, even doing as much as even calling their name. No, I didn't think so. So why is it fair for you when another would get crucified if they were to do the same? Yeah, I understand that life hasn't been fair, but please give yourself a chance to heal. I'm not asking you to do this for you. Sorry, I'm not asking you to do this for me. I'm asking you to do this for you. Another dirty campus. Okay, we have
I love that piece. You know how I feel about that too.
yeah. We have someone coming on, Poet Collection, Demetrius Ford. Let's see. All right. How's it going?
How you doing? All right, good.
All right.
What's up?
How's it going?
All right. So my name is Demetrius Ford. You know, Poet D Collection is my website. I make custom-made jewelry, beaded jewelry. So I really like making jewelry with gemstones, but I do all kinds of beads, glass, wood, African bone, ox bone. Yeah.
Right.
So I am also a poet spoken word artist, and I'm coming out with my book titled Verbal Riffs. Verbal Riffs is an entire project. So it's the book. It's also music. So you've heard Men of Steel. I think I've come on here before and I've done Men of Steel. Men of Steel is right now in streaming on all digital platforms. You can pull it up on YouTube.
Right.
Just type in Demetrius Ford. That's Demetrius with 2 E's. Men of Steel, because there's a lot of Men of Steels out there.
Okay.
So this piece that I want to do tonight is titled Grateful to See the Light. This is not from the book. This is just one of my pieces that I would would like to do.
All right, let's go.
I too want to be pure in my soul. I too want to walk a straight line, be extra kind, better in being self-sufficient, and continue to find my way towards peaceful and healthy living. A poet I am. Blank paper to me is like a religious symbol. I should be able to confess, redeem myself, bind those demons, and command them to leave me, and you see me for who I am. Not be labeled and classified for assurance that you are a better man or woman. I am grateful to see the light. I should be happy, but I cry because I am still very much in the fight for what's mine. My peace of mind, my shine. A real person I am. I don't live my life like you, her, him, or them. I don't descend from envy grins or choose to live my life amongst phony friends that are scented of the gas I pass, being all up in my ass. A real person I am. Gossiping spirit stealers just won't let me be. They continuously concern themselves with fiction information on me, and these spirit stealers guard the gates of my burial place, awaiting my arrival. I don't know why they choose me to share in the misery of their contained life of idiocy. They can't tear me down. They can't turn me around from my goal to reach a better, more mature mentality and be a better man. A real person I am. A life awaits me and I have a plan, so I keep moving on and keeping on until I reach my answers to self-satisfaction. I can always reclaim my place on my success, something else that can never be taken away from me. Others can't make me feel a failure because of a mistake that was mine to make. I own it and the repercussions are mine to take, and what is most important is that I learn from it, and with that power, head games have no place. Still, they constantly make the mistake of playing on their hate and give me just what I need to retaliate. I am grateful to see the light. I should be happy, but I cry because I am still in a fight with the negativity that will never let my name rest, not even on the day announced as my last breath. Poem.
Like, that was such a powerful ending to a remarkable piece, you know, like, oh man.
Thank you.
I love it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that piece was very powerful, and It just make you sit and say, you know what? You got to be you, right? Embrace it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
As you contend with the ups and downs and, you know, like different people and how they see you and all that. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is why
You
it's
realize
very important.
that's the way it's going to be no matter what you do, you know. And so, but you can't let that kind of negativity and you can't let that bring you down. You just can't allow it to stop you from your life's purpose and achieving your life purpose.
Correct.
So this next piece I like to do for you is from the book titled Verbal Riffs. And this is from the section of the book titled Verbal Riffs as well. This is titled Slamming with Yourself. It seems that from the time you entered the doors and sat down, somehow you lost your literary way. You appear to sit there looking all stressed with regret because you feel that your delivery was not at its best. What did you come here for? You come to challenge a poet on the usage of words that are peacefully shared, and you chose me. Don't risk the fan base you built. I don't write for the hype of a popularity contest and an open mic. My usage of words will turn your emotions inside out. Provide verbal provisions for mental uplifting and make you discover the truth about the misguided life that you've been living. Don't be mad because your body mistook my delivery for an earthquake. There are no relief funds for this one, son. Accept this conclusion and understand that this man wears inflicted insidious labels, and still you don't understand how I wear them well and how I cleanse myself of them in the water well of my poetry. The sooner you do, you will come to understand that a title such as Slam Poet will not classify the powerful poet that I am. You desire to take me on because your nerve endings and grinding teeth down to the feelings is telling you that the real deal is up in this house. Where at the door the bullshit stops. If you suddenly need to change the poem that you originally came to do, if you need to huddle and conspire with your constituents on who will step forward to complete you, if you feel as though your thunder will be absorbed in a lightning ride of pretentious verbal lines and you become vindictively stressed, it's because you are slamming with no one but yourself. I write because this is my only way to let the contained voices out. Let the laughter out. Let the tears flow out. To scream out. To allow the insanity to have a dry spout. I can't unwrap my skin and mummify you within it, preserving you in knowledge for a millennium of years, but poetry can. Each sheeted type line or hand scratch is the burlap bound in the sheath of the richest form of imagination and expression, of free will to fulfill the turning of the mill. My heart pours with the aches, the weight, the rate of mental state that fills the lake of mistakes I make to this date. See, I willingly put them on the plate for others to taste in small pieces and savor the ingredients of me. If poetry is a way to release me into you without physically entering you, to soothe your inner being infused with your DNA that runs astray to collect your human soul, then I suppose I have a hole like cocaine up your nose, upsetting the endorphins in your brain, and survival under the rest, it can't be attained. If poetry is a high that takes you on a geographic ride from each side of the world, from shaman to rare pearls, how many of us have held the rare pearl, and how many of us have sat at a shaman's feet? I need you to seek imagination, truth, research, free speech, and rebirth in my poetry. What did you come here for? To sit in silent protest and become mentally repressed and self-regret, unable to understand that a wordsmith will move you and can remove you? Don't come here as an educator and arbitrator, conforming everything I write into hype fame for the open mic. All the things that make up who I am can be found on the shores of blood-stained sand. Blood-stained sand. My ancestry is grand, and this is how I'm able to come to you, one man under one God that gave me the gift of the poetry man. And what did you come here for? Looking to break barriers where there are none to be broken by coming in with a street battle mentality on the featured poet spotlight dream? Anyone could come with a hot poem, but only one can allow it to make one's worth seem worthless. We are all on common ground. Know your worth. I could go on for hours and build a verbal tower of the damsel in distress of lyrical content. Be a prince of words that make you feel hazed up. You get verbally blazed up while trying to wait in on the physical eye. What did you come here for? I have entered jailhouse doors that house young boys feeding words that may redirect their thought process into a life of better yet, better get an education to build a fan base of more than one type of job training under their belts. I always come with a message, whether it's 3 or 6 to anthology minutes long. I always come to deliver strong. My dear poet, there is no need to sit there looking all stressed with regret. Your delivery was at its best. You just didn't realize that you chose the wrong poet to test. When it comes to me, give it a rest. Don't come looking for a lyrical contest, because you will find that you are slamming with no one but yourself. No one but yourself. You are slamming with no one but yourself.
I love it. I love
Clearly,
it. Love
clearly
it.
the first piece, as amazing as it was merely the entree. Man, come down with
Thank
the
you.
full course,
Yeah.
not the entree, and then all the other courses came in one. That was
The first one was just the appetizer. That was the main course. That was
we
Thank you.
was
Thank
full.
you.
We
Thank
was full
bars
from
and
the. We was full from the appetizer, but then he was like, "But don't leave yet."
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This
that
was
was
that's
listen,
yeah. That's
boom.
is what verbal riffs is about. This is what the whole concept of verbal riffs is about. So you get prose, you get poetry, you get spoken word in the book, you get the performance pieces that I have performed certain pieces on the stage that I'm known for, like Under Their Parents' Wing,
right.
Negritude, you know. So I'm also coming out with my first house single titled Over the Weekend.
Nice.
And yes, and DJ Daryl D, also known as DJ Daryl D Dunstan, he is already spinning it on his set, doing his DJ set on Facebook.
Nice.
So, but I'm going to be releasing that soon. You know, that first house single that I've really been waiting to bring out.
Anyone not
That is
following
fine.
Poet
That is fine.
Collection, start doing
Y'all
it.
know the drill. Y'all know
Click
the drill. Click the top left.
down,
If you
follow.
drop down, you will see his name. Follow him. Changeling, how are you
Thank
doing?
you.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very
Demetrius.
much for
Thank you so,
coming,
so
man.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my man. Hey,
I
what's
saw
up?
this dude right here go live, and I had to come on through because I was on tour last week. I went through
Oh, sweet.
this man. Well, I turn around, and this man's like, "Changeling, what's up?" Like in real life. So I had to come through and say, "Hey,
Nice.
for sure, man.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. I came out to see him. You know, he was on the live and he said he was coming to the fire in Philly. So I'm in Philly. You know, so I came right from doing the job. I came straight to see him. Place was packed, man. The place was packed. We couldn't even. You had to stand on the outside, in the bar area, because the inside was so packed.
It was a,
But you know,
it was
yeah.
fire with the fire, man. Oh my
It
god."
was great seeing you, though. Great seeing you. Great coming out and supporting, you know, the poets. That's what I really, another thing that I want to make sure that I do when I can do, and that is if I can come out and support any of the poets on any of the IG lives that's coming in Philly, I will do that.
All right.
You know.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much for coming through, and you're always welcome.
Thank you. All right. Everybody take it. Have a good day, good night, wherever. I don't know what the time zone is there, but
Yeah.
all right.
All right. Have a good one here.
Peace.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Changelings.
Yes, sir. Is it this gentleman, RhyMinister, right here?
Yeah.
Or then or is it my
RhyMinister
turn?
right there.
Who
No.
do you wanna hear
He's
It's
the
like
host.
hosting.
He's hosting.
I part.
Yeah. So it's,
Thank
it's
you
Good.
for
yeah. It's
having
all
the
you.
platform. Thank you for letting me come and share on your platform.
Yeah.
Thank you for creating spaces for us to process this global trauma, man. Because like you make the world a better place by giving us these spaces. So appreciate you, man.
Anything, man.
I have a book. I have a CD. I have digital content available. If you are interested, please check me out. So unfortunately, he had to work, so he missed me. He got there right after I went on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the piece that I did there, so that he can hear it. So let him know that, you know. And this one also goes out to y'all here, because we have spaces like this. You let people in, and I wish I could tell y'all to step off, because I'm about to burn you with the friction of my diction. But recently I've made a decision based solely on gut feeling, and it's still got my heart, mind, body, and soul reeling. So I've been hitting a wall, and this writer's block shit has got me feeling small, because I'm supposed to be able to smith my words and craft my style, because there for a while I thought that I needed to be heard, but maybe I just needed to hear myself think. So I could gather my thoughts like a gathering of nations without the hesitation of a society of convenience where everything is supposed to save our time, but nothing ever seems to get done. So run, rat, run, because that's how things are. Push through the maze, push through the haze, and to breathe through the graves, and to see through the days of this 8-day-a-week overtime to become nothing but suicide slaves. In the land of the supersized and the home of the slum, there ain't no time to grow old, because you ain't even allowed to be young. Well, I intend to fire with a sharply honed tongue, but poetry is more than poet me. It's poet you and poet true. Having the courage to turn this soapbox into a platform so that we can shine the light to the shitstorm and the norm, because enlightenment has found that this shit right here, shit ain't normal. But our rights are being blocked like the decaying bridge to true freedom, waiting to collapse under our train of thought. So they're trying to train our thoughts by taking away from our schools music, theater, and art, but we sure can fill in bubbles with number 2 pencils. Just more stencils marking the way for marketing status quo. I don't know where any of this is going to go, because lately my flow has been hitting a wall, and this wall stands tall, like the one that leaves people imprisoned in religion shopping malls instead of just kicking it in the halls of karma, where good deeds actually still mean something. Instead of just being a list of things to do to get your soul through in hopes that someday you might get to earn those wings, but there is still something that we can't quite grasp, and we have been trained to be afraid to ask, because they don't want us to know that we were all born with these wings and the ability to sing. No, they'd rather have us kissing some false idol's ringleader of a kiddie porno ring, and they say that he's closest to God. What's it going to take for us all to recognize that all we got to do is just drop all this shopping? Step out the door. Stop talking when we pray, and learn to listen some more. But alas, this too shall pass. So I'm just going to kick back and listen to y'all do some poetry and smoke some more grass and try to pass through these bricks of ego and this mortar of fear, because you see, I didn't come here tonight to slam. I came here to hear. So I'm going to go ahead and sit down and shut up, because I'm tired of banging my head on this wall and I'm sick of feeling small. You see, I came here tonight to unblock my rights by listening to you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for encouraging my behavior. Thank you, poets, for being poets. Because goddamn, we need more poets in this world.
Religious shopping malls. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I love all that, like righteous block, you know, the wall, how you went through that was masterful. That was dope. But when you said that religious shopping malls, I laugh because that's how it feels sometimes in terms of people hopping from, you know, one to the next, trying to fit in, you know, and it's how people just play off of the need for people to fit in and to find themselves, you know, by displacing, people's encouraged to displace the journey to self by replacing that with the journey in something else before. So thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you for having these spaces.
Following him, click at the top, drop down, and follow. We encourage everyone, as the bigger the community, the louder your voice will become.
That's actually the name of that piece, is community.
So, all right, see, there you go.
Thank you all for being part of this global community, man. I appreciate you all so much.
Thank you very much for
poetry, y'all.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Gemini.
We have
many
Fox poetry.
Many a night, I've seen her do her dressmaking or whatever, you know, do her poetry.
Right.
I had times it was working. I didn't always get to jump in, but I would listen, you know, as you would do your stuff. So it's been a while since I saw you on, and I'm happy to see you. Yeah.
I've never seen her, to be honest. This is the first time that I can actually listen to her work. So I'm all ears.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
For those who are sensitive, this may be traumatic, so just an FYI.
The trigger warning, guys. Just let you know, it's a trigger warning. Okay.
Rockabye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, when the bough breaks, when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down you go, baby, cradle and all. He was just rocking her to sleep. He was just trying to help, wasn't he? Just rocking her to sleep. You see, we had been arguing and she was crying. And he was just trying to silence. He was just trying to comfort her. He was just rocking her to sleep. He said that the cradle broke by itself. He said that the baby just slipped out of his hands like she was covered in butter, or maybe she was a little slippery. I had just given her a bath and a fresh diaper. I had just fed her, and she seemed content until he started screaming, until I started recoiling, until the wall started protesting, until the wall started answering back when I was repeatedly slammed against them. Maybe she should have kept quiet. Maybe then he wouldn't have gone into rock-a-bye baby on the treetop when the wind blows. He always came in like a strong wind, like a tornado, like something was under him, like a firestorm. And the house was always quiet after he was done. But isn't it just like a strong wind to come through, ruffle everything and leave? She was just a baby. And I was supposed to protect her, and I tried, but he turned my lights out. Wasn't he always that helpful? Isn't that what fathers are supposed to? Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks. I never knew a body could break so easily. A bloom so easily crushed, but she was. And though I'd prefer him break my bones over hers, he wasn't so choosy. This is just a glimpse of what domestic violence looks like. You're not always the only flower crushed. Not everyone makes it out of this garden alive.
That was goosebumps there for me, straight through. Yeah, it's thought provoking for sure. It's heavy because again, I got goosebumps as I said. But it's important to speak on, because that's a reality for people, unfortunately. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That's heavy.
The sad
We
part is
need that.
that most women and men who go through domestic violence, because there are men who go through domestic violence as well, and they are victims of domestic violence. They believe in their heart of hearts that there is no way that this individual will ever hurt what came from their own flesh. So they will withstand all of the pain.
Yes.
They will withstand all of it, and they believe that there's no way they can hurt their own flesh. But when it comes
Yeah.
to domestic violence, there is no barrier, there is no boundary, there is nothing that they respect. And if you have any type of drugs or substances in their system, that flesh that look like theirs looks just like an invasion to them, just like a burden, something else to break.
Very true. That's the thing about domestic abuse. Like I was reading an article and it says 80 to 90% of the time it's never reported.
No.
It's never reported, which is a bit harsh, but because you sometimes see yourself as a victim and you go like, okay, so I don't want to get this person in trouble. Even though you're the one being hurt, you don't want to put that person in trouble.
But it comes from a deeper place. Most victims of domestic violence, either they've experienced domestic violence or they experienced some other trauma. This person came in as a savior at first. They didn't come in hitting them. They didn't come in screaming at them. There were red flags, but the red flags were normal to them because they had experienced some type of trauma before.
All right. So yeah, we get that, and like it's always a touchy subject, and everyone always tries to bring awareness to it, which is definitely a step in the right direction. Always a step in the right direction to reach out for help. There's so many places for you to reach out and start the healing, because it is a people say, oh, just get over it, but it's a process. It is a process. Some cases is a short process, but more often than not is a very lengthy process, and a lot of people hardly ever get through it or get past it, unfortunately.
Yeah, even in the bigger picture, is how do we essentially change our culture of what is actually happening? How do we change the mentality of people who abuse other people? How do we change the environments that create these personalities, right?
Right.
That's something that's of serious interest to me, because it's happened. Because those people also could be victims of trauma that leads them down that path too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, and that's what we tasked with as people, to how do we make that better?
Yeah, Ginger Ninja said there's also a lot of shame as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
And then not get out because you cannot see in front of you. You don't know what the next minute holds. You're always on high alert.
right.
So there's no place to escape because you're just trying to survive. Now, this was not my story, because anybody touched my children, you would not be seeing me. I'd be somewhere, Rikers Island, somewhere.
Yeah, I got you.
A long talk for the next couple of years, but
makes sense.
you don't see in front of you, so there is no escape. You feel like there is no escape.
Yeah. Understood.
Well, yeah, I'm happy that you wrote on it, even though it's not that shows your experience, because that shows, serious empathy. And it's important, because somebody might be going through that. They can't speak about it. They don't feel capable of speaking about it.
Right.
So that, you never know, will empower somebody to maybe speak about it or seek help.
Yeah.
I feel that somebody identifying with it, that could do so much to somebody. So
yeah. Okay.
It's good that you were able to write that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for coming, and you're always welcomed.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, that was a beautiful piece, by the way. Really powerful.
Anyone not following GeminiFox poetry, kindly do it now. Same as Jason. Just click down and start following.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much for coming. Right now we are about to start an interview with this gentleman that's directly next to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jason. I'll be listening.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Ciao.
All right. Okay. Okay. So on stage we have, one second. Just let me pin that comment. There we go. On stage we have Jason Dulac, also known as J.D.S.P or Jason Dulac, slam poet. He is a spoken word poet from Toronto, Canada. Toronto in the house. Writing has always been something he was drawn to ever since he was young. It was a big distraction from his social awkwardness and bullying he faced every day at school. In 2016, he discovered spoken word poetry, and it became a way to deal with his problems from his past, and he hid for a long time. It has become a platform for him to speak on mental health, LGBTQ, and things very important to him. So, Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. Like, from the first day me and RhyMinister did the voice project, when you came on and we saw like how vulnerable your poetry was. It wasn't even named. We didn't even have the name voice project as yet. When you and Nicholas came on and you guys were so vulnerable, after the show we sit and we talking, we were just like, And he was just like, what do you think about voice project? I was just like, sounds fantastic to me. And you guys were the main inspiration behind the name of that. So we thank you for that, first off.
Yeah, so to say it quickly, just remember, like, no, look at the influence you could have even when you don't realize that, because y'all, the way that y'all came in that night, we was like, oh shoot, you know. And here we are now with the Voice Project, a few episodes in, right? So yeah, thanks for the inspiration, man.
All right. So you said that there are a few topics that you wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so the topics I wanted to touch on, so there's two of them, and they have to do with the poems I've chosen to perform today.
Understood.
So the two topics are, the first one being coming out of the closet, just the terminology of it, and just like, because a lot of people, especially if they're not in that situation, or if they're not gay, let's just say, they may think it's easier than it seems. Or for some people are gay, it is really easy. And then there's that ever struggle where sometimes you're in the closet for reasons that your own safety, per se, because I've had friends who come out and they've ended up homeless because family doesn't agree. And sometimes the easier journey for Everton, sort of the poems I'm going to be speaking sort of touch on reasons why at least from my perspective, why I stayed in the closet longer than a lot of people would, because I didn't come out of the closet until my mid-20s, so.
Understood. That could be. I find a lot of people aren't accepting. A lot of people don't accept people for who they are. They just want them to be who they want them to be. Because it's like, you should be this, you should be that, and it's all pointing fingers and calling names. But how about you ask that person who they want to be? How about you ask that person, who would you like to be? Because at the end of the day, it's their decision. It's their life that they're going to live. And however they choose to live it, it's completely up to them.
And like for my situation, it was, my family and friends have been super supportive. And that wasn't I could have came out a lot earlier. It wouldn't have had much difference of the support I would have had. It's more, for me, I wasn't accepting of who I was. And that's why I stayed closeted so long, because I didn't want to accept it. And sometimes it's not about worrying about whatever people are going to think. You got to find your own self-acceptance first before you can share it with everybody else.
Okay, I never thought about that from that perspective. That's a really good insight. Thank you very much for that. So all right. So first question that I have for you.
Yeah.
What are 3 things that the average person wouldn't know about you?
Okay. So one thing a lot of people wouldn't know is I am huge into skateboarding. You might know from 1 or 2 of my poems. I just started recently writing poems on it. I haven't really done that before, but skateboarding is something that I absolutely adore and love ever since I was young. But the thing is, it's more, I'm not your trick skateboarder. I can't do any of that. I'll just be honest. I'm a downhill. It started with skateboarding and turned into longboarding. Longboarding became my thing because I can't do tricks, but I can balance just fine enough. So I just love the thrill of that downhill.
Understood.
So I haven't been able to, just because of living situations of where I am right now, been able to get out much and do it.
Right.
And because of where I am, I had to get rid of my boards, but it's definitely something when I have the chance, I definitely want to get back into, because just the thrill of going down a hill at like 60, 70 kilometers per hour, depending on where you're doing it.
Yeah.
So the second one would be a tough question.
I guess not everybody knows I'm a big anime freak. I love my anime. When basically when I'm not writing, I'm watching anime or gaming, and usually a lot of the anime style games. So
Okay. Yeah, anime is. I always tell people, man, you gotta stay true to who you are, man. Anime is one of those things that when I first started watching it, I was just like, this is weird. And I started with English versions of it. And then it was just like, eh. And then when I actually heard it in Japanese, it was just like,
that's the only way to watch it.
this is times better than.
Jason understands because I cannot watch. I cannot watch.
Yeah.
With the English dub versions, I can't do it. Yeah. The service to my spirit.
Yeah, the voices never match. Never. Okay.
Yeah. So the third answer to this question is, some people in my life would know, but not many people on Instagram would really know because I really don't talk about it. But I went to college for screenwriting for TV and film. And I never ended up completing it. I was 1 credit shy. Personal reasons. I had to drop out because of a mental health. I went into a relapse, but I never ended up. I just didn't feel like going back for that 1 credit. I have worked on a few projects still in the industry, but it's just I sort of realized it. I loved the screenwriting portion of it because I've always liked writing, and I've always wanted to write for animation, not anime, but animation in general. But it was more I couldn't handle the politics of that industry. But it's definitely screenwriting. I still help out one of my friends every now and then. They do theater, so I'll write some stage plays for them every now and then. And yeah.
That's really
that gave us so much insight into your writing because it's all the imagery and every feeling, it's always got like a direction in such a way that you could see it unfolding. So that definitely helps me to get where you're coming from,
Yeah,
that's really dope.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I just don't talk about it too often because I feel it more as a failure because I never completed.
Nah.
So
that's why we asked that question. That's why we asked that question. But I could see the thing is interesting. Like I felt that way sometimes about basketball and me getting injured and not being able to play and get to college and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in terms of your writing, I could see that in your writing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you took what you knew and you carrying it into another space and you're doing it brilliantly, and that's part of why we have you here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. One other question before we get you to say your first piece.
Yeah.
So, when was the first time you've ever shared your work with others, and how did you feel after that?
Okay, so we're talking specifically poetry here?
No.
Okay, I'll have two-part answer to this.
Okay.
So when I first started writing, I never shared any of my stuff. And when I first started writing, before I started writing poetry, I was writing fictional stories. That was my thing. Right. I always loved writing fictional stories, and then turned into some lyric writing, and it turned into me being 17, getting pissed off at 3 binders full of work, and burnt it all, never to be seen by anybody else. And the first time I shared something, I put out an autobiography book about my mental health journey, and the self-published book, and I was public speaking on that, and I did that at age 22. And then led into me self-publishing a second book where I finally did a fiction, because I loved my fiction writing, and I wrote a fantasy book that I self-published.
Nice.
But when it came to poetry, so when I started writing in 2016, it was more, I've been following a bunch of spoken word poets on YouTube on button poetry, and I've been loving everything I was hearing. I'm like, I gotta try this. So I wrote this first piece, and I was like, okay, now I gotta find an open mic. So I went searching for local open mics.
Right.
So like 2 days after I wrote it, I was on stage. And I just got hooked, and it was a bi-weekly open mic, and I just started going every 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. So, how did you feel after that? After that first open mic?
It just felt great, especially at the time because I was going through so much of my own mental health journey at that time, and because of the pieces I write, it felt like therapy, to be honest. Just getting up on stage and just letting it all out.
Nice.
So,
Fantastic, man. I remember my first time
became
on
more
stage.
of like a drug to a point, because like just that I became addicted to going on stage.
Mm. And you went every other week. Every time they had it, you
Yeah,
were there.
until that open mic shut down, and then I found some other ones.
Okay.
But yeah.
And this was obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah, this is pretty good. Started 2016, and then I started doing some slams in 2018. That's
Okay.
when I was doing some slams at the Toronto Poetry Slams.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what's the first piece you have for us tonight?
Okay, so the first piece I got tonight, so few of the pieces I have memorized, other ones I don't. I'm doing a little mixture of both, because this first one's called It Was a School Day. And I think you guys have heard this piece before.
Right.
But here we go. I sat under our tree, the one where our lips first met. The flag was at half-mast that day. School was in session, but I wasn't going to class that day. Not that day. You see, I didn't have the strength to pretend to be straight. I knew you were going to be the conversations in the hall, and I didn't want to pretend I didn't know you at all. Because I did. I knew you. I really knew you. But did I? Because the person I knew wasn't a coward when it walked out the exit without saying goodbye. Why? As the tears ran down my cheek, you see, I saw your hazel eyes. The day my tear ducts learned to flow, river droplets of emotion that created that abyss of a black and white ocean. Unlike the beauty in colors of the pride flag you hung in your room. But I was consumed by the shadows of a black and white world, because colors were associated with boys and girls, gay and straight. That's why I made sure my closet only had shades, black, whites, and grays. Easy to fade away, to be unseen. I heard you used a razor. It must have been a messy scene. You see, I could have called your name, but it wouldn't have changed the fact you took your own life that day. I smacked my head against the tree. It's self-inflicted damage, but it's damage your memory did to me. As blood ran down my face, you forced a choice I didn't want to make that day. Stay in that closet or be openly gay. So I didn't go to your funeral. It wasn't until recently I went to your grave. It's weird to talk to the dead. But it was nice to say I've opened the closet door. You'd be proud of me these days after those words. I put that red rose onto your grave.
I think that piece is the one that I think you did that's the first time you came before it was even called the Voice Project.
Yeah.
I think you did that piece, and that was what I think that inspired us to come with it. I heartfelt piece, man.
As you said before, like the imagery.
You know what stood out to me in a way is I love detail, and this how we could see that you're such a I could see where the influence comes from screenwriting. When you said the flag was at half mast, right?
Yeah.
That just stood out, the imagery of it, given you're talking about identity. So flag at half mast, like not there, you ain't here. Like that to me is the most powerful. If I was watching that as a scene and I saw what you was describing, I saw a flag at half mast, in my head it would be like indecision, uncertainty,
And I guess
I'm
that comes
searching
from
for
that
myself.
screenwriting portion, like you're mentioning. You see
Exactly.
that in my writing because in screenwriting, especially
Yeah.
if
So
you're
even
writing for animation, which is what I wanted to do, was write animation for TV.
Right.
You have to be really descriptive in that scene so the animator knows how to portray it.
Exactly.
but even how you positioned it, the way you said it, you was, like I just absolutely love it. Like you talking about the like hallways and um you didn't want to pretend that you didn't know him because you did.
Yeah.
I just love it. So like now that you have given us that insight, now I can say for sure, like when I listen to your work, I can see where it's coming from, right? That is phenomenal, man.
And I love the fact that anyone listen to your work, they could be just like, you know what, this is some. If they've never seen you perform before and they hear your work, I'm pretty sure they can be just like, I need to start following this guy. Where can I listen to this guy again? I'm telling you,
Yep.
because I've seen, I was on a live where you were a feature, you were there like to talk on an open mic, and
Yep.
the guy that was there, he was just like, you got some really powerful words, my guy. And he was just like, I'm going to start following you right away. And I was just like, you see, that's it. That's what you need. Like, I so happy that you are able to voice how you feel. And people are able to feel what you feel when you're writing these pieces. You put them in a place where you were at while you were writing that piece. And I think that
And
that
if you get right,
hmm?
yeah. No, you say finish what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that as a very good skill to be able to do that.
And that has me very eager to hear, like second piece because after that start imagery, I didn't really want to say too much more because if you start like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I want
second
to see how
piece
you go.
actually relates to the first piece, so I usually don't do
Ah,
these together, but I figured it'd be the best time too. So
Nice. All right. Let's go.
yeah. This is a relationship told through numbers. 1. The day we met was a lot of fun. Back alley at a party, and funny enough, we weren't drunk, just two teens that didn't fit into the scene, so we wrote our own play. But that was on a private screen. 2. What started as a friendship became something new. But it created extra problems too. 3. You introduced gay to me. Not to say I didn't know what that was. I just wasn't aware it was inside of what was me and what would become us. 4. We had to keep that behind closed doors because school was a war and I didn't want to become more alienated than I was before. 5. You wore your pride. Being gay was something you never wanted to hide. You always encouraged me to open my closet door, but you also knew that was an inner war because once you open them, you have to open them more. 6. You always wanted to introduce me to your family. They were supportive, you see. 7. I ran in the other direction. I didn't want anyone to know. 8. Communicate. We came to an agreement. We were on different slates. Respect was made, but a crash course was set. Maybe this was the gay version of Romeo and Juliet. 9. Everything would die. At least in public eyes. 10. At school and home, not friends. 9. Love was alive. 8. Invisibility allowed this relationship to survive. 7. You believed in purgatory. I once believed in heaven. 6. Your metaphorical pride flag started to rip. 5. I was loosening the bolts on my closet door. I wanted it to be a surprise. then goodbye. Why? You died. I secretly cried. 3, lock the door, stay in the closet, and start this inner war. 2, accept that there's no more me and you. 1, sketchy night times were for grieving purposes, not for fun. Secretly hoping things would go wrong, and just maybe, you were right about purgatory all along.
That
See, the amount of fire that you was bringing, right? Again, I hope that at some point that maybe you release a book of poetry and then adapt it to the screenplay, you know, like
yeah.
I really love the way that you write.
Thank
You
you.
know,
That
it has something like you say you believe in purgatory, I once believe in heaven. So like immediately that making me think about again, you know, the challenges that y'all have, y'all would have had in terms of looking at yourself. And you say you once believe in heaven. Why did that made me wonder why did you once believe in heaven? It's because of the inner struggle as Positivity said, and then you said he once believed in purgatory. He believed in purgatory probably, you know, because of his journey. You know, like so the way you position your details is always made me be like, okay, he said that there. Yeah, hey, Tracy, like, how you say it, how you position it, the pacing, everything has always got me like, yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. Love it.
as I said, like his imagery is always amazing, and like I love the fact how he went from how he went up like right through the story, and then he was just like, okay, all of this happened. I was ready to just come out, and then he passed away, and then he was just like slowly bringing way back down to one where you just like, nah, this isn't the time. And the way how you explain like how he get you that part that had me was just like maybe this is the male version of Romeo and Juliet. That piece was
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And there's a little hidden, so there's a little
Easter egg.
inside joke in that line specifically for anybody who's into drama and stuff, because not everybody would know when it comes to Shakespeare and back in the day.
Mhm.
So Romeo and Juliet, because it was a Shakespeare, like back in the day of Shakespeare, only men were allowed to be actors. Be a man who played Juliet.
I did not remember that part, but yeah, it is true. It is true. Yeah, that actually, that adds some complexion to that too, you know, because
that make
that was witty. I love Easter eggs. I love Easter eggs. That was witty. I love that sort of thing.
That was good.
Yeah, Shem, go ahead.
That was good. Yeah, that piece, like as you said, those two pieces mesh together really well. And like doing one and then the other right afterwards, like people get to see the bigger picture of what it is that's really going on, and that Next question. What motivates you to get up each day and be so positive?
That's tough because okay, there's layers to that answer because I'm not a really positive person, I'll be honest. But in my poetry, it comes off. But because I'm struggling every day with my mental health, and I'm constantly in the negative. But I spent so many years wearing. I call it the mental health mask. Like I'm just so used to masking my emotions. And I've done it my whole life, and it's become easy when I'm with people because I've done public speaking to just come off positive. But a lot of the times I struggle every day with trying to keep positive energy. It's a daily fight, but we all have our own battles.
True.
Yeah. But it's something I'm always working on, definitely. But
you see, the mere fact that you work on it every single day,
Yeah.
that in itself is much better than the alternative.
Yeah.
Right?
Took a long time to get to that point, but learning.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure more than 70% of the population has dealt with mental health issues and not even noticed that that's what it was they were dealing with. Right? Me myself, I dealt with it for a while, and it took a long time to get out of it. But the one thing that I can say that always had me in a good spot was my daughter. That's the one thing that I can tell you, hands down, have kept me in the best place possible. Okay, one more question before we get you to say some more fantastic pieces. Is there anything special that you do that is a part of your writing routine?
Huh. Haven't really thought about that. Yeah, I don't know.
It could be
Yeah,
like, some
not
people.
really, I'd say. It's just, mostly with me, it's just whenever I get an idea, it's just because I used to try to force myself to write every day. And as much as they say that's a good thing to do, even just 10, 15 minutes a day, it's just I'm really, when it comes to pieces, especially because I perform a lot, it's like I don't want to write a piece if it's not going to be a performance piece. So I don't like to try to force it. So it's more like when I get that idea, it's just sometimes it's instant. I get it, and I always have to write it down or record it right away. Because if I don't have time to work on it, I got to write it down or record it, or I'm going to forget about it. So in those instances, I write it down, record it, and then when I have time, I work on it and usually knock it out in 15 to 20 minutes, at least the first draft. But other times, it's like, just comes and it's just, if I have time, just knock it right off. But then there's those few pieces where it's like I've sat on the idea for like a week to 3 weeks and wasn't able to come up with anything, and finally it just pops. And
that sounds good. Because I know for some people they like to listen to music. Other people like to go outdoors. They like to just go and get some fresh air. Some people like to go have a nice long shower, and when as soon as they finish their shower, they're just like, yo. Because a lot of people think I even knew someone that they would take a pen and paper when they were going to the washroom. As silly as that may sound. And when they're having their alone time on the toilet, they go like, yeah. And they start to write. So everyone has their thing. So, all right.
yeah.
Okay, so what else you got for us?
Okay. Okay, I actually have this one's off memory. This one's called Destinations. Hey, I hope you're good today. You see, I know we're both on different planes, heading to different destinations with creations of articulation, followed by a linear line that seems to separate space and time, and I don't know if I have what it takes to pick myself up after the crash is about to take place. Maybe I should have never bluffed. When I wasn't holding those pocket aces, you see, I had the 7-deuce offsuit and I was running on fumes. Running to a tune on repeat. Running. But at no time was I on my feet because I was free falling. Hoping there'd be a time I'd soon be crawling back to that place. The one where life taught me death is a permanent fate and life has a one-way exit and there's no return trip granted, and I can't take back the things I said. So I should watch before I say them in the first place. Learn to articulate my feelings. to the ones I love, because one those words we didn't say that haunt us forever long, because unsaid words are meaningless when that intended listener is gone, so I move along. Haunted by old songs, haunted by old times of memories that seem wrong, a tug of war of times that are no more, and an apology never spoken before. I learned to breathe underwater because I know nightmares never end. I drown in this lagoon of darkness as mediocrity becomes my friend. Lost souls from my past, they're never far from my mind. I'm still in love with a ghost. It's why you can never be mine. I'm destined to break hearts because the dead broke mine.
As I tell you, every single time I hear one of your pieces, you just put me in a place where I can picture everything that you're saying. And that, so you see, you not finishing that program wasn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because now you're able to put that into what you're most passionate about now. So you did go to learn, you did learn, and you're putting it into practice.
But I can understand the journey and all in terms of feeling that, you know, you didn't finish it and that being on your mind. I definitely could identify with that. I learned to breathe underwater because I know nightmares never end.
Yeah.
I love that because how it stood out to me when I was depressed, I used to feel as if I was having this recurring dream every day. I would feel like getting up, going through the same dream over and over again, and I felt like I was keep asking myself like, when will this ever end? And I had to kind of learn how to stay submerged in that experience. So like when you said that, it created that familiar experience, you know.
Where that
Again,
line came from, because nightmares, they feel like you're drowning at times.
yeah, exactly. I love the way that how you paint your pictures is beautiful. Like, it's really intriguing to me, and I love to read, and I love to see the attention placed in creating each scene, you know. So I thought that was fantastic. Big ups to Cynical Insomniac joining the space.
Hey.
Yeah.
Man.
Still spinning a lot up there.
Yeah. So
Pardon?
Say again?
Oh, you were just spinning for me. You're back now.
I'm back. Okay. All right. So you're a part of a group, a collective called the Galaxy of Poets, where you are a host. Do you want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so I became a member of the Galaxy of Poets back in January, and it's definitely been a growing experience for me as an artist, because I've been getting to work and just be around other artists that have helped me grow and definitely step my performance aspect up, because there's a lot of great performers there. But the one thing is that I've really enjoyed about is how much focus they put on mental health, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to join. And the hosting I do there is I host 2 of their mental health check-ins, because they do mental health check-ins 3 times a day, Monday to Friday.
Right.
And it's just an open spot for people to come in and talk about how they're doing. And none of us are mental health professionals, and we state that very clearly, but we're there to listen and just, be there for people. Just, it's awesome to have a support system like that, especially during the pandemic. Was very, very important to have something like that going on. So, because a lot of people who did have support systems weren't able to actually use them because the physical ones were closed.
Understand. So we got Myris Monarch saying, "You've helped us grow too." So you got a lot of people in here. People saying it's really relatable. It was so visual. You can see it all. So people are loving what you do, man, and you're bringing.
I think You say you're bringing. Sorry, it stuck. I didn't realize you was actually speaking that.
Oh, okay. Is bringing a lot of awareness to mental health. As that's the core reason for it, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people think that mental health. A lot of people before believe that mental health is just, oh, we put you in a psych ward, you crazy. But a lot of people don't understand the small little things that could be a part of mental health, right?
Yeah.
And having dealt with it, and as I said, a lot of other people haven't dealt with it, right? When they hear people's stories, and when they hear the things that people did to get through their stuff, or they hear the stories that people said, and it was just like, no, this sounds similar to mine. And when they hear what people did to get through that, they go like, you know what? If they can do it, maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's beautiful about it is how as I said, how you paint those pictures. You know, is already relatable in terms of the words, and then how you perform it and bring that imagery to life too. You know, that also helps to create that connective experience. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I have 2 more pieces, right? I'm just trying to remember how many you asked me to do.
Hey,
You're on track. You're on track.
do your thing, man. Just do your thing.
Okay. Pieces, they're going to be speaking on someone that's very important to me. Not everybody knows, but I spent 2 years volunteering at a suicide hotline. So, a crisis line, and it was definitely a very important time in my life. So, one poem will be directly about during that time, but this one's more just about. This one is speaking on suicide in particular and the stigma behind it.
Okay.
Okay. This is called Stats on the Wall. I lie. The first thing popping into your head right now is probably why. But let me tell you this, I did not become a liar because I enjoy to lie. It was more like instinct. I needed to convince the world I was fine because on the inside, I was fighting to stay alive. I always knew where that bottle of pills was, and every day it was just the question of, is it time? Because according to the World Health Organization, one person takes their life every 40 seconds. You see, there are 60 seconds in a minute, 3,600 seconds in an hour, and 86,400 seconds in a day. So by that math, 2,160 people become a mental health stat every day. And yeah, I said it, a stat. Because to some people in the world, well, it's just a number. But what if it was your mother, your father, your sister, or your brother, or even a friend? What if you woke up tomorrow and they were gone and you didn't know why? Because when it comes to suicides, a lot of the time we don't know why, and it's by asking ourselves that question, it can lead to very dark times, and when the grieving is not done properly, sometimes we're the ones contemplating life. Some would say talk to another. But how do you talk about a word that makes people disappear when it comes into conversation? A word so stigmatized. People die in silence. And I'm not saying it's not talked about. I'm just saying not in the right way. Let's take Bell Let's Talk Day, for example. It's a great cause, and I'm not dismissing it. But let's face it. When the day's done, the conversation is, and I'll tell you, I know what it means to suffer in silence. My partner suicided when I was 17. I never truly knew what it meant to grieve. I kept a secret and drove me insane. I almost became a statistic, not once but thrice. I know what it means to try to take your own life, and I also know people do want to help. It takes a lot of courage to pick up that phone when you need help. 1-800-273-8255. It's numbers like these that save lives. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. I've volunteered at these hotlines. Let me tell you, you're not a stat in their eyes. You're someone who wants help, and when you're on the line, your safety is the only thing on their mind. And I'll tell you again, I do lie. And there is a reason why, because we're not at a point in society yet where it's okay to tell every single person what is truly on your mind. But there are people who can help, and it's vital for our lives if we let them give us their time. Don't be afraid to talk about suicide.
That
I love the reflection, the vulnerability. The part that stood out to me most is how you introduce the idea of a stat. You know, like how at the hotlines people look. You know, they're concerned about your safety. You're not just a random person that would appear as a number, right?
Yeah.
And that is important because mental health is something. The weight of it, you know, like is. I try to look at it in terms of you could suffer traumatic physical injury. So, you know, just like that, you could suffer traumatic mental injury. So when people, I remember I had a long discussion, an argument with a family member, and they were trying to make it out as though I was just, I guess, failing. And I actually, person having to be a doctor too, and it was like, well, if somebody came into you and told you that they pull a hamstring, would you just tell them that this should just be running races, or you would try to help them to heal? Which one? And then she was quiet for a while. Because it's like, I guess she didn't expect me to say that, but I feel as though it's really important that people have to understand that just because you can't see the effects of mental health, you know, that don't mean that mental health issues, that don't mean that they don't exist.
Yeah.
true.
So I love that you put it that way.
I had a
One thing,
conversation.
go ahead.
Tourism.
What I was going to say is the one thing with it is, like, a lot of the time people who are feeling suicidal, they don't reach out because it's just, there's so much stigma just behind the word suicide and just bringing that up. And a lot of the time, the people that are the ones that need help are the ones who look like they're fine. And yeah, it's just, that's why, like, these crisis lines and stuff, they're so needed, and I just appreciate everything they do. Because sometimes people going through it, they just can't talk to their family and friends. They may be part of the reason they're struggling. So having places like this is just so important.
Yeah. One thing I could say, because as I said, I had to deal with some issues as well. And I would tell anyone, if you go to a therapist, what I could always advise you to, and this is something that someone told me after. When I started to talk to the therapist, I realized that they weren't there to help. I could tell right away they were just there. They just went, probably finished their degree, whatever it is, master's, whatever. And while I was talking to them, like I could not sense any type of concern for me. So what the person told me next time I go to any therapist and they talk to me and they were just like, oh, so how can I help you? And then they said after I give them my reason for being there, then I need to ask them the question, what are you looking for with me? And if they can't answer that question, that's not the place for you. Because if you ask them that question and they say, I'm here to help you, if they even hesitate to answer that question, they're not doing it for the right reason. And that opened my eyes, and I was just like, you have got to be kidding me, because a lot of people just do it for the money. But you gotta look for that person that doing it because they want what is best for you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I would tell anyone. Figure out what that therapist wants, what their plan is for you or with you. Because not everyone has the same goal.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
All right. So you got your last piece for us?
Yep. So I don't think either of you have heard this piece. So this is a new one I just wrote like 2 days ago. I've maybe done it on 1 or 2 lives. This one is called Tears Hurt. Okay, sorry. I am really bad when it comes to titles because I don't even like using titles when I perform. So half the time I don't know what my pieces are called.
That's okay.
Tears Heard Yet Never Seen. Okay, here we go. It was just another day of training people at the crisis lines. Listening as a trainee takes calls and pass some notes if they get stuck. And after they hang up the phone, give them feedback and again we go. But the 4th call that day had me feeling a different way. See, the thing is, I knew the voice will never end. She was actually a really good friend, one of the strongest I'd known, but the sadness she spewed showed a side I never knew. Her angelic aura was frozen to and through, and to just sit there and hear someone else's tears hit my open ear with a voice I knew, and I couldn't help because, well, the trainee was talking to you, and I heard the tears flow through the phone. I even felt them touch my bones. You put on such a brave face. I never knew you felt this alone. Nor did I know you didn't have a home, bouncing shelter to shelter, yet it never showed. So strong and composed, but your porcelain doll had cracks that you never showed. Hidden with fancy clothes and a smile that glowed, but now you were broken down. Tired of trying to turn it all around, too embarrassed to reach out for help. So you called this phone because, well, you didn't want to cry alone. Not knowing there was a friend listening on the phone, and I know you loved Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and, well, you knew how to use your lifelines. So you never had to make any of your friends and family say an unwanted goodbye.
Good night, Sean. Good night, Sean. How you doing? Shiny poet. Amazing, phenomenal poet. Jason. You know, whole night was like I was watching somebody at the canvas painting, you know, feeling every stroke, you know, if in my chest, you know, the emotions of it, how you capture them is a joy to see, you know. Even though you're talking about, you know, heavy stuff, is to see somebody put the thought into it, because you was even saying earlier how you don't find that you're the most positive person, but how you reflect on things, it does add light, you know, adds perspective, one of my favorite words ever, to everything, and it provides great insight, and it's sure that it touched people's hearts throughout the night, and it will continue to touch people's hearts, even in saying the same galaxy of poets, how they say that you help them grow too, you know, like everything that we do contributes to other people growing and learning, and the fact that you do it in your cinematic literary way is such a great joy and honor to see, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today, guys.
Thank you for blessing us with the powerful pieces that you were continuing to share with the world. Because as I said in one of my pieces, you have no idea who's going to love what you do, because there are over 7 billion people in this world. If 1 or 2 people don't like it, that's fine. But what about all those others? You have no idea who you're going to touch, the way you're going to touch them. You could inspire someone. Someone could be driving in their car and just say, you know what, whatever. Or they could just park to get something to eat, and they said, let me check and see what's on Instagram, and they press it and they listen to what you're saying, and they go, you know what, maybe I do need to reach out for some help. Because as simple as it might seem, you probably touch more people than you even think. Believe it. We got Positivity 7 say, thank you for the inspiring session, kind and talented souls.
You're welcome. Thanks to Jason for agreeing to do this. And Jason, of course, if you have anything you want to share in terms of, if you're doing anything, share it with us, because what we like to do in terms of people who feature on the show is if you have anything coming up, send it to us. We will continue to share that. It's our way of giving back, because you coming here, you sharing your energy, you sharing your masterful words and work with us, is a joy, and we are grateful for it. Thankful, for you
Sure,
coming
and I
here.
have two things I would like to plug.
Sure.
So I have a new show I'm going to be hosting on the Galaxy of Poets. It's not going to be on Instagram. It's going to be a Zoom event once a month, but it's a free Zoom event. We're going to have all the information, how to get on the Zoom, posted on the flyer that's on our page right now. But it's going to be the second Saturday of every month. The first one's this April 9th, and it's called Galactic Conversations. And this show, I don't know if anybody here has ever seen a TED Talk, but this is the style of show we're doing. It's going to be a TED Talk style show. Our first featured guest will be Myris Monarch, and she will be speaking on the topic that's little heavy, really near dear to her. She's going to be speaking on daddy issues, and yeah, we're going to have 1 to 2 guests every month, and they'll be speaking on something that's really important to them, and there'll be a little question and answer period after, followed by a little open mic in the intermission. So
yeah, even if I can't make it because we're gonna be going live on Saturdays, what we'll do is, I imagine y'all might upload it to YouTube, I would try to catch it. So you could send me, if your YouTube channel that y'all have, whatever, send me the information, and I would share it, and I would also try to catch it even after. That sounds like it would be a great session, because our formative years stay with us throughout our lives.
Yeah, I would have to check with the social media director of the organization of the Galaxy of Poets, because I don't know if they are planning on recording it or not.
Okay.
To put it on, because I don't know if they want to, because I think they're trying to keep it more like a safe place, so they might not record. So that would be something that I'd have to check with them. That would be a good idea. So.
If you have the flyer for it, there's a flyer for it, just send it over.
Yeah, there is.
And we will definitely share it so everyone can tune in if they have the chance to.
Yeah, I can understand that approach that they will have. You say you had something else you wanted to plug?
Yeah, I have a book coming up, and it should be out in mid-May. We're just finishing the final edit on it. It's going to be called From the Stage to the Page, and it's 26 of my performance pieces, a lot of them my older slam pieces, and they've been edited and formatted into a more readable format of page. I wouldn't say page poetry, because I don't like to say there is page poetry and there's spoken word poetry. It's all poetry, but it's going to be a little more pleasant on the eye, taking away maybe a lot of words I overuse that aren't necessary for the reader. So it'll be an interesting treat for people to be able to read it, and then if they ever hear me perform the pieces, they might get a little different taste. So I'm looking forward to it. So
I am looking forward to it. So when you do, you know what to do when you release it. Let us get that information. All the promotional material. Let us get it so you can pass it on.
Yeah.
People need to get those words, man. People need to purchase that book and have Jason in their house, in their household, on their book stands.
Well, you have a fan in me. I love vulnerability. I think that's the best form of nakedness. It's easy for somebody to strip the clothes in front of you, but to let somebody see even a glimpse of you, that's take bravery, it's take strength, it's take that honesty. So the fact that you let us see that in your paintings, because that's what I could really call them, your cinematography.
Yes. Masterpieces.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. For me, like, for the first time I got connected with you with the what's the name of the group again? Six
Poets Society.
Poets Society. For the time I got connected with that, because I first saw you on with Ram Rock.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, yo, I need to start following this guy. And I start following you, and then like every time I turn around, every,
Yeah, I
every
took
time I
a
turn,
break for a little bit, but those last 2 months I've been heavy on these
dude,
open
like
mics.
every time I turn, all they saying is Jason Dulac is live. Jason Dulac is live. Every time I pop out, and they start
Yeah,
following you more, and they start like realize that that you are on the galaxy of poets, and like when you were going, I would just go on and sit down and just listen to you, and I would watch you interact with people and just just get them comfortable in your
yeah. Recently,
space.
I've seen you going live. Like I see you going live multiple times a day. I tip my hat to anybody who does that. I used to do it. I don't really have the time to do it anymore. I
Yeah,
try, but
Right.
it's really difficult, but anyone doing that, I tip my hat to them for sure.
yeah.
Right.
For me, I'm lucky because of my living situation right now. I'm able to do it, so
Mm.
I'll take advantage of it till that changes.
Right. Sounds good. As you said before, thank you very much for being you. Cause that's the
Thank you.
simplest way I could put it. Thank you for being you, and
You know what?
never ever try to be anyone else but you, because you got something going on. It's very special, and people need to know about it.
What's interesting before you go, Shem. When I saw him come, maybe asking the question about three things that people, the average person might not know, right? And I saw him with
Right.
the headpiece, and I was saying, it says, I suppose this man come and tell me no. Suppose he kind of tells us no that he like Xbox, right? Like this PlayStation,
No, guys,
he
this is the best system ever made. The Nintendo 64.
Yeah, yep,
The
you got
best
it.
system ever made.
I
Good.
had great experiences with that, but for some reason in my heart, because of Tetris, Game Boy is life.
Mm.
But
But for me,
so Nintendo,
I
Nintendo
can
wins.
agree with that. Get anything Nintendo, man.
yeah,
But no,
honestly,
yeah, Nintendo. All right, we did Nintendo because
what made
Perfect Dark
64
and
for
all that.
me was Mario Kart.
Well, Mario Kart, Perfect Dark,
Uh,
Bond.
for me, this was the pinnacle of video gaming to me. Is when
Excellent, yeah.
64 released 007 GoldenEye, and you were
Yeah.
able to play 4-player local co-op on a split screen.
That
Yeah,
was
you
that.
know that. You know
Send me a
that was the
game.
key.
Love that game.
So they had
Everybody
with
brings
Star
a controller to a friend's
Fox.
house.
They had Star Fox. They had Mario Kart. They had GoldenEye. GoldenEye was life.
Go
Perfect
to
Dark
that.
was also life.
And when you find out Golden Gun one shot killed,
Yeah.
Listen,
that was it, man.
and I
That
had a
was,
Wii as well. I bought a Wii. I bought a Wii specifically so I could play Tetris right. So I just come home from work,
mm,
turn the thing to the nunchuck to the side, and be like, 'cause I love
Yeah.
Tetris. Tetris is
yeah.
right up
Oh,
there, like probably my favorite game of all time.
I give skill to anybody that's good at that game. I struggle with it.
Yeah,
I would
That
probably
is
say
one thing with skill.
just
Tetris is a
requires more
mind
practice.
game.
That's probably the way to look at it.
Yeah.
I
I think
played
if people,
human Tetris, let's just say. I used to work at airport. I was doing baggage handling. And when we were packing the planes, that's human
That
Tetris.
is
With
Tetris.
yeah.
yeah, because you pretty much have to have those Tetris skills when you're in the baggage area and those bags are coming up the belt.
You even making it more a stronger argument for Tetris. It's relatable. It's simple. Man, I love that game. I just trying to break my personal best thing is like 630,000 on the website. You know, a lot of people may not look like nothing, but the point is that I use a keyboard. I want to get back, like, if we get a Steam Deck, so you can play Tetris, the thing is connected. Understand? Like, no, I really love Tetris. Pro Evolution Soccer and Tetris, two of my favorite games ever.
I've seen some of those championship Tetris players. The people who play that competitively, it's insane.
And I saw this one Asian guy that was playing, that he holds the controller upside down. He has his hands like this. And I couldn't understand.
He plays it backwards like that.
But this man won the competition doing that.
But you made a good point though, Jason. Nintendo has excelled just about with every system they had.
Yeah.
Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, like where did they like I remember when everybody was coming up with these big, like these big systems and everything. The graphics was exceptional. These guys came up with the Wii that they have. The
Yeah,
graphics
their
was
stuff's never been the
720p.
top of technology, but
Mhm.
the name keeps them afloat because everybody wants to gravitate towards it still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they created experience when you had games, little simple family games with the boxing, where the
That
camera,
is
the
it.
character
That
were
is
fully
it.
formed. They just seeing the hands and the head. They know how to touch people. And then you got
Nintendo is,
Mario.
Nintendo is
It's
an
crazy.
experience. It's not just a gaming system. It's an experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when it comes to companies like Konami, I love Konami. Konami, Metal Gear Solid, Pro Evolution Soccer, like
Yeah.
the list goes on.
Um,
Yeah, we could go on and on, but well, finish what you were saying, Shem. But
Yeah.
on
just
to
to thank, so we probably could have another live some other time, maybe on
Yeah.
my own channel talking about video games because I love that kind of like.
that's a discussion for another show.